Welcome to the Bounce Back Journey podcast. I'm Rain, digital brand strategist for the Bounce Back Journey. And today I'm joined by the founder herself.
Hey everyone, I'm Melissa, founder, transformation strategist, author of Transforming Trauma, and the one who lived through everything we're about to break down. And if you're listening right now wondering if this is for you, if you just got the news, just signed the papers, just heard the diagnosis, or you're sitting in a season of silence not knowing what comes next, this episode is your blueprint.
Last week we shared the origin story, the letter, the disruption, the silence, the identity shift, the moment everything changed. But this week we're going deeper. Melissa, when you built the Bounce Back Journey framework, what were you actually solving?
That's a great question. And honestly, Rain, I think it hits different when you hear the why behind each step. So let's walk through this together.
Let's do it. Melissa, before we get into the steps, I want to start with something that jumped out at me when I was reviewing your visual identity guide. It looks like a branding deck for a high-end architecture firm. It's incredibly polished, but it's not for a building, it's for a person.
I get that reaction a lot. People see it and think, okay, are we really talking about fonts and colors when someone just lost their job?
Right. It feels like style over substance at first glance.
But think about it. When a corporation is in crisis, the first thing they do is rebrand. They impose structure on the chaos. And that's exactly what we need as individuals when our world falls apart.
So you're saying when an individual is in crisis, like after a traumatic job loss, their internal world is chaotic. So they need external guidelines too.
Precisely. Trauma and disruption create internal noise. You don't know who you are anymore. You need to impose some kind of structure on your life to signal safety to your own brain. That's what this framework does.
And that brings us to the line on the cover of your guide, the one that anchors everything.
You don't start over, you start wiser.
I think most of us, when we hit a wall, a firing, a divorce, total burnout, we have this panic that we've lost our place in line.
We think we have to go back to start. It's the blank slate myth. We view a disruption as a total reset, meaning we value our past experience at zero.
But you're saying the disruption itself is actually an asset.
You aren't starting from scratch. You're starting from a place of higher intelligence because of what you just survived. That's the foundation of everything we're about to walk through.
All right, let's get into it. 6 steps, walk me through them.
All right. Step 1. What were you solving here?
I was solving denial.
Denial?
When I was terminated while on medical leave, the first instinct wasn't strategy. It was shock. And what made it heavier was this. I was already trying to get my health back. I wasn't in grind mode. I was in recovery mode. So when that letter came, it wasn't just about income. It felt like stability was pulled out from under me while I was already down. What I realized is this. You don't heal what you pretend didn't hurt.
That line hits hard.
If you skip acknowledgement, you carry silent resentment into your rebuild. You carry unprocessed grief. You carry a story you haven't examined yet.
Okay, but I have to push back here. In the corporate world, isn't the standard advice the opposite? Never let them see you sweat. Fake it till you make it. If I acknowledge I'm hurt, doesn't that make me look weak?
That's the traditional view, yeah. And that's also why we have a burnout epidemic.
Fair point.
If you compartmentalize the pain, if you shove the job loss or the grief into a mental box and lock it, it doesn't go away. It festers. It becomes background noise that eats up your processing power.
So you're operating with a slower processor.
Exactly. You're running high-demand software on a system that's lagging because it's trying to suppress a virus in the background.
That's a great analogy.
Acknowledging the disruption isn't about crying in the boardroom. It's about data entry. It's simply admitting this event occurred. It had this impact. You have to stop running long enough to see where you are.
And that data, when you actually documented it, what did it become for you?
That data became a book, a framework, a brand, a podcast. Everything you're listening to right now started because I stopped long enough to acknowledge what happened and ask, what is this trying to teach me? But let's be clear, that didn't happen in one inspired weekend. It happened in small, quiet moments, writing when I didn't feel strong, choosing purpose when productivity wasn't an option.
Step 2,
regulate before you rebuild. The tagline is, stability creates strategy.
This is where most high achievers fail, isn't it?
It really is. And here's the science behind why. When we feel unsafe, when the paycheck stops, when the relationship ends, when the diagnosis comes, our amygdala takes over.
The amygdala. That's the lizard brain, right?
Exactly. It's the part of your brain responsible for fight or flight, survival mode. And when it activates, it floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline.
The stress hormones.
Right. Now, here's what most people don't understand, and this is the key. Your brain has two systems that are essentially competing for control. The amygdala handles survival. But the prefrontal cortex, that's the part responsible for strategy, long-term planning, complex decision-making, executive function.
So they do different jobs.
Completely different. And here's the biological reality no one talks about. When the amygdala is driving, the prefrontal cortex literally goes offline.
It shuts down.
It shuts down. They cannot both be fully active at the same time. So when you're in panic mode, when your amygdala is running the show, you don't have access to your strategic brain.
So you physically cannot make a good plan while you're panicking.
That's exactly right. You might think you're strategizing, but you're actually just flailing. Manic applying to jobs you don't want, sending desperate emails, making decisions from fear instead of clarity. There were days when I couldn't even think long term. My body was healing, the world was shutting down, and I had to give myself permission to not have the full 5-year plan figured out. That was humbling.
So when you say calm first, clarity follows. That's not just a nice sentiment.
It's a biological prerequisite. You have to regulate your nervous system, calm the amygdala, so your prefrontal cortex can come back online. That's when you can actually think strategically.
But I can hear the listener right now saying, that's great, Melissa, but I have a mortgage. I don't have time to find my zen. I need to hustle.
I hear that. And here's the counter argument. Hustling while you're dysregulated leads to mistakes that cost you more time.
How so?
If you take a job out of panic, you'll likely quit in 6 months or get fired because it's a bad fit. Then you're right back at square one. Taking 2 weeks or even 2 days to fiercely regulate your nervous system is actually the faster route to a sustainable income.
Slow down to speed up.
Exactly. Get your prefrontal cortex back in the driver's seat. Then make decisions.
All right. If you're still with us, steps 1 and 2 were about stopping and stabilizing. Now we shift. Steps 3 through 6 are about rebuilding. And this next one, this is where it gets personal. Step 3. This one feels heavy.
It is. Reclaim your identity and confidence. The line is, you are not what happened to you. Your experience did not erase your value.
This feels like the hardest part for people who tie their worth to their business card.
It is. We live in a culture where the first question at a party is, what do you do? If the answer is, I was just laid off, we feel like we cease to exist.
Ghost-like.
I've been there. You feel invisible. But here's what the framework asks you to do. Separate yourself from the event.
The event was a disruption. Your value is the asset.
Right? If a factory has a fire, the land is still valuable. The brand is still valuable. The infrastructure is still valuable. You are the asset, not the current circumstances.
Okay. Step 4. This is the one I want to spend some time on because this is the line that stopped me in my tracks.
Let's hear it.
Your past is data, not damage.
That's the anchor for everything I teach.
But I have to push back. If someone just went through a messy divorce or a toxic workplace where they were bullied, calling that data feels cold. It feels robotic. Doesn't that dismiss the emotional reality of it?
That's a valid critique. If you stop at the surface, it does sound cold. But think about the alternative.
What do you mean?
If you view it as damage, you are focusing on the injury. You're the victim. You are broken. But when you reframe it as data, you aren't denying the pain. You're just changing your relationship to it.
You become the scientist of your own life.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. A person focused on damage says, "They fired me because I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. Everyone is out to get me."
That's a heavy narrative to carry into a job interview.
It smells like desperation. But the person who sees data says, "Okay, the data shows that I do not thrive in organizations that lack clear communication channels. The data shows that when I'm micromanaged, my output drops by 30%. This is useful information.
So you're mining the rubble for gold.
You're stripping the emotion out of the analysis, not out of the human. You're looking for the ROI on your suffering. If you suffered, make sure you get a lesson out of it.
Everything counts.
Everything counts. It's moving from why me to what now. That's executive clarity.
Step 5.
Realign with purpose and possibility. Survival mode is over. Alignment is the new strategy.
This is about direction, right? You're finally ready to move.
Yes, but here's the key distinction. If hustle is just running fast, alignment is running toward the right target.
Okay, break that down.
If you've done the data work in step 4, you now know what you need. You know you need a culture that values autonomy. You know you need a role that leverages your specific strengths. Alignment means you stop trying to fit yourself into boxes that don't fit you.
It's vector versus velocity.
Exactly. Speed doesn't matter if you're running in the wrong direction. And remember, we regulated our nervous system in step 2 specifically, so we could read the compass in step 5.
Use your compass.
Use your compass.
All right. Step 6. And honestly, if you're a woman over 45 who's been told you're not tech savvy or that AI isn't for you, this one's going to flip that script.
I know it surprises people.
We've been talking psychology, feelings, trauma, and suddenly the advice is get an AI assistant.
Here's why it matters. We've established that the person listening is recovering from a disruption. Their energy battery is not at 100%. It might be at 40.
Healing takes energy.
Right. So the old advice would be grind harder to get back on top. But if you grind on a 40% battery, you crash again. That's the cycle.
So where does the AI come in?
The AI is an exoskeleton. The guide says work lighter, scale wiser. I'm suggesting you use AI and smart systems to handle the low-value, high-energy tasks.
Like writing cover letters?
Let AI do the first draft. Scheduling, use an automated system. Organizing your data from the past, use a tool.
So it's not about the robot replacing you.
It's about the robot acting as your support staff so you can preserve your limited energy for the high-level stuff.
Think about a CEO. Does the CEO schedule their own meetings, write every single email from scratch?
No, they have an executive assistant. And in 2026, you don't need a budget for an executive assistant. You have AI.
It's treating your personal recovery like a business turnaround.
You don't do the janitorial work when you're trying to set the vision. AI supports your comeback. It allows you to punch above your weight class while you're still healing. It safeguards that executive clarity.
You can't be clear if you're drowning in admin work.
Exactly.
So let me bring this together. The bounce back journey framework isn't about pretending the disruption didn't happen.
It's not about toxic positivity or manifestation or grinding your way through burnout.
It's about treating yourself like a company worth investing in.
Acknowledging the disruption, not to dwell in it, but to document it. Regulating your nervous system because you literally cannot think clearly when you're in survival mode.
Reclaiming your identity, separating who you are from what happened to you.
Reframing your past as data. Mining every hard experience for the lesson that will fuel your next chapter.
Realigning with purpose, running toward the right target instead of just running fast.
And rebuilding with smart systems so you can heal and lead at the same time.
This isn't starting over.
It's starting from a place of higher intelligence because of what you survived.
Before we close, Melissa, I want to leave the listener with a challenge. You said something to me earlier that stayed with me.
Here it is. Take the most painful professional or personal thing that has happened to you recently, the thing you wish you could erase. And instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this experience requiring me to adjust? Not emotionally, strategically.
Not how it made you feel.
No, how it changed you, what it revealed, what it exposed, what it clarified. Because sometimes disruption doesn't destroy you. It introduces you to a version of yourself you wouldn't have met any other way. And I know what it feels like to sit in that in-between space. Sick, uncertain, watching the world shut down, not knowing what the next chapter looks like. If that's where you are right now, you are not behind. You are in process.
And process is not punishment.
It's preparation.
Calm first.
Clarity follows.
This is the bounce back journey.
We'll see you next week.
Come for the conversation. Stay for the clarity. Leave with your power back.